lose all sense of reality and enter another world. Remember, do not underestimate the power of PlayStation.
Beyond. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Beyond, episode 377. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the pride of Long Island, Colin Moriarty.
Good to see you, Greg.
It's good to see you, too. I love you. Thank God we're not doing this opening for the second time, because then it'd be weird.
Yeah, it's not like we didn't forget to turn the camera on or put a thing in.
Sean Finnegan turned it off. It was on when I started my countdown and sat down, and then he came in and thought he was doing us a solid by turning it on. But he wasn't, Max. He was screwing us up. Over there, in Marty Sleeva's never-rotating third chair, IGN's newest, tallest host, Max Scoville.
Hey.
Hey.
How's it going?
It's good. How are you, Stretch?
I'm pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah? You like that? I threw that out there for you.
I like that. That's a good one.
He's very tall, man. I've known Max for a long time, and every time I see him,
you forget.
You do forget because we embraced. We had a really warm embrace when I came in into the office today, and
I felt like a child again.
It's
in the arms of your favorate soccer coach.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly right. And then it gets darker and more demented from there. But he is very tall, and Sam was saying that they have to utilize the old wooden crate to
Apple box.
Yeah, the Apple box.
Yeah,
so I do this thing where I stand like totally spread eagled, like I don't even know what you would do in that pose. It's like some weird, like I'm gonna be launching a spirit bomb or something. Like I just got my legs just completely apart,
just to bring yourself down to the camera's level.
Yeah.
That's got to be fun.
Yeah.
If only they would have tested you before you came in. They would have known. They would have been able to get around these. Max, you've been on the job 1 week.
Yeah.
How's it going?
It's great. I'm having a really good time. The way I've been describing it to people is it feels like junior year. It feels like junior year of high school. Like it's that like first day of school kind of excitement, but without any of the terror that you have really early on. It's like junior year, like I was, here I am. I recognize people. I know some people. Maybe it's like I know some of the teachers,
right?
And
well, that's the thing, right? You've been IGN extended family forever.
Yeah, no, and I know like everybody here. And then
you work pretty closely with Brian.
Yeah, right. And I was in Japan with Mitch.
Yeah.
I've known you for a million years. I remember helping you move something, Colin, like a couch or something.
Oh yeah, when Scott moved out,
that
was the first time I met you. So that was in 2011, maybe.
Yeah.
We moved Scott's treadmill.
That was it.
Oh, Jesus.
Which was a pain in the ass.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Did you put a hole in the wall like we did with your elliptical?
No. When we replaced that with an elliptical that we then carried up the stairs and then dropped, and then it just went through the wall in the hallway.
I was like, I think if we can just tip it over its side and rotate it to the top, and there was just a wall there, and right into it. We're like, oops, sorry about that.
And that was just one moment of our cartoon life.
That's how we did it.
Yeah.
That's how the cartoon life works. Ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know, this is Podcast Beyond. It's IGN's #1 PlayStation podcast. It's their only PlayStation podcast, #1 PlayStation podcast on the entire internet. Now that Colin and I have left IGN and do it at Freelancers, we now put up the show, video and MP3 as a combined package each and every Tuesday for your amusement at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Video and audio together.
One time. It used to be that I had to separate them out because I didn't have enough time or processing power to do it. But now I have both.
I like how you emphasize freelancers.
Yeah, freelancers. Because then we get to lance and do things.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that cool?
That's fantastic.
It's a hot new Gears of War promotion. Freelancers for everybody.
Absolutely.
Max Scoville was running out of time because Up at Noon went long. Up at Noon, it was my final Up at Noon with Troy Baker. You can watch it Monday.
Troy Baker was delayed till Q1 2015.
Yeah,
it's like everything else.
His flight was delayed quite a bit. Max, you're taking over Up at Noon. You and Brian Altano are doing the new hotness to it.
Yeah.
Neither of you have told me what it is. I heard Brian talking to the crowd a little bit today. Give me some teasers here.
We are going to get different animals.
Whoa.
And have them, and their handlers will come on, and we'll just ask a bunch of questions, and hopefully it's very informative.
Wow, it's a different, it's a brave new take.
We're going to be doing a much more kind of junk food bite-size approach. So as opposed to having like long form, 22-minute single episode, we're going to try to kind of bust it up a little bit. But we haven't done that yet. We're going to be pretty much hard rebooting it.
Nice.
And I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to be telling people this, but screw it.
Don't worry, nobody listens to this
only works here a
podcast.
week. I'm not going to get in trouble, but it's going to be. It's going to be familiar. We're not like turning it into a show about animals like we really wish we could. We might be doing a Let's Play series where we only play games with animals in it, but we want to do kind of similar panel style discussion stuff and just make fun of nerdy news because that's what you do. So
it's true. Well, I can't wait to see what you guys do with it. Yeah. I love you both very much.
It'll be good. I appreciate having your blessing. That makes it.
Oh, please. Yeah. Like I was so excited when they said they were looking at you for the new host. I was like, come on, that's great. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Let's begin the show with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. Time for some news.
Max,
we didn't.
Max
We
is
ran
uninitiated.
We ran out of time to brief Max on what he needed to do on the show. Some of the audio cues won't be there.
No, it's all good. So the Roper Report's a little disjointed this week because it's just been a stupid day.
Nobody would know that if you didn't say it. If you just roll with it, nobody would know.
No, they would know
wrong.
because I usually have these very.
How many items?
There's
on the
11
Roper
items. I
Report?
don't know.
A baker's dozen.
A baker's. Is that no? That's 13.
13's a baker's
It's like
dozen.
a plumber's dozen or something.
Yeah. I think you just call it 11 and just leave it at that.
That's like a really lousy baker's dozen.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I baked 12, but I ate one. Sorry.
The reverse baker's dozen, the hungry baker's dozen.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's see where we'll start here. Greg, let's start with this little piece of news from our friends over at Supergiant Games.
Oh, I know them.
Transistor, which was a nice PC/PS4 exclusive game, came out earlier this year. Kind of like a strategy RPG, kind of an action strategy game. I don't know, a lot of different genres involved there.
It was a mashup of genres.
Exactly. They announced that the game sold 600,000 copies, which is a pretty big deal. And that their game Bastion, which is their previous game, which is coming to PS4 and Vita very soon, sold about, 3 million, I think?
Wow.
Yes, 3 million. We're happy to see Transistor selling faster. Yeah, it's so Transistor actually sold faster relative to Bastion, according to them. And Bastion has sold over 3 million copies, the majority of which were on Xbox 360 and PC. So they'll get maybe a couple 100,000 more when they release it on PS4 and Vita.
I think a lot of people will rebuy. Well, that's the whole thing. Is I think enough time has passed. I'm a big fan of saying old game is old. I don't want to buy these re-releases. Something I've played before, Max. I'm not into it.
Sure.
But Bastion. That game was awesome, and I remember I played it the day Casey Lynch got hired. I was reviewing it, and I was like, God damn, that was a long time ago. So yeah, you're damn right on my Vita. I want to replay it.
I'll be right home.
Get some
on
trophies.
Vita, I do
Get
believe.
some plats.
That'll look very, very pretty on Vita.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Let's see. Next up, let's do this one. PlayStation TV and controller bundle prices reduced, according to
Shocking.
IGN freelancer Brandon Tyrrell. I don't know how to say that name. Tyrell.
Sure. Let me see it.
Tyrrell.
Tyrell.
Oh, it's good. It's a good.
Tyrell.
The Tyrell Corporation.
This is word has been going on for a while. People are interested in PlayStation TV, which is known as PlayStation Vita TV or Vita TV.
That's how it was originally introduced to
Exactly.
us.
And people have noticed that retailers have been shockingly lowering the price on this
because nobody wants to buy these things.
Hard-to-find piece of hardware
that nobody understands this goddamn thing. Nobody asked for this thing, and here it is.
The original story written by Brandon says the PlayStation TV, Sony's ultra-compact game streaming device, has received a significant price reduction from a number of major U.S. retailers like Amazon, Best Buy, and Walmart. As spotted by GameSpot, the standalone PlayStation TV microconsole is now selling for $80 USD, a noticeable markdown from the original $100. Similarly, the PlayStation TV DualShock 3 bundle, which is just the Vita TV with the DualShock 3, originally priced at $140, is being offered by those same retailers at a much slimmer sum of $100 USD. And then the update says a Sony spokesperson has confirmed to IGN that PlayStation TV price reductions are specific to retailers and do not reflect a shift in pricing on the part of Sony. So they just have the stock that they.
It's just the retailers are trying to cut around.
So if you're interested in getting a PS Vita TV and you've been waiting, or a PlayStation TV, whatever the hell it's called.
Nice job. Good job on the auto.
Yeah, I stopped myself from saying the F word, which is shocking. Then you go in that direction to some of those retailers. You can get it for $80.
Max, have you understood the draw of a Vita TV?
You know, I remember the immediate turnoff there is that was announced kind of almost side by side with the PS4, wasn't it? It was kind of like it was around that. It was pretty close behind or ahead of it.
Yeah, it was. When was it? It was before PS4 came out. It was at TGS that year, I think. So 2013.
And it was one of those things they didn't even bother to address the possibility of a North American release. The thing that really, really sucks about it is it uses the Vita memory cards.
Yeah.
And then it comes with a DualShock 3. So.
Well, for a while they weren't even acting. They were acting like it wouldn't even work with PS4, like the controller, DualShock 4. Eventually, now it does.
Yeah,
but it's like, come on, what the hell?
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, our theory about this, or my theory about this, for a while was that they made probably a lot of them, hundreds of thousands of them.
These are gonna sell like hotcakes in Japan.
And they bombed in Japan. And so my assumption is that they were like, we have all this stock.
Yeah.
They only sold like 50,000 units total in Japan. So. They were like, well, we got to release this elsewhere. We'll change the name, get rid of Vita, so that it doesn't scare everyone off.
It's an interesting. I don't know. I always say this, Max. I don't understand business.
Yeah.
So I don't know much about it.
Some other people don't also, but you know.
But yeah, so when it gets down to this, it would seem like, I guess it's just some money's better than no money. Getting it out to retailers in any way, I'm just like, hey.
This really reminds me of the Xperia Play phone. You guys remember that thing?
Yeah, I
Where
remember
it's
the
like
PSP
this isn't a PlayStation product. This is a thing that somebody decided to kind of cross brand.
Right. It's so
like
close though.
That was an Ericsson phone basically. And
yeah.
Like, this feels like something that kind of trickled over from the consumer electronics side of things. And they were like, hey, you could put a controller with this, and then it's a Roku box.
Yeah.
But
No.
swing and a miss.
Another story, as always, PlayStation Blog releases their best-selling games for the previous month to let everyone know like what was the most popular game on there. So for December, the top-selling PlayStation 4 games in order were Grand Theft Auto 5, Minecraft, Battlefield 4, The Walking Dead Season 2, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare.
Surprise, surprise. It reads like SEO keywords. Like.
Yeah, that's basically it. If you go down to the bottom of the list, it's 20 is Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor, 19 is Destiny, 18 is NBA 2K15. So there's a lot. There's no surprises here at all.
I would have thought Shadow of Mordor charted higher than that.
And it came out in what, September?
Yeah, a lot of people love that game.
I mean, a lot of the copies have already been sold, probably.
Sure.
PS3 games, Minecraft is the best-selling game, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, Battlefield 4, South Park The Stick of Truth, good to see it there.
Damn right.
Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag. No other big surprises here. Slender the Arrival was number 17.
Wait, Black Flag?
Yep.
Not Unity?
Yep, Black Flag.
Huh.
No. Yeah, Assassin's Creed Freedom Cry is on here and Liberation HD, but nothing about the PS3 exclusive one or the last-gen exclusive one.
Huh.
Interesting. You think Black Flag's a typo? Did we just find a typo?
It could be.
We're talking about... That's weird, yeah.
Yeah, it could be.
Because it's for last month, right?
It says Black Flag. Yeah, Black Flag wasn't even available on... No, Black Flag is the one from last year.
Yeah.
So that was available. Yeah,
Pirates.
nothing...
Wait, we're talking PS3 titles?
Yep.
Oh, okay, I'm dumb. Never mind.
There was a PS3
There was Rogue,
exclusive.
though, right?
Yeah, Rogue is the one I think
Yeah.
you're thinking
Yeah.
about, which would be...
And it was supposed to be real good.
How did that do well? Was
I don't
that
think so.
Apparently
No?
not.
I mean, did people like it? Was it
Yeah, critically,
Yeah.
yes, they liked
Okay,
it. And that was
okay.
why there was that whole hullabaloo about embargoes. Is that they didn't want the embargo for Rogue to get over on this one because people were going to like Rogue more than like that one.
Yeah.
On Vita, Minecraft best-selling game there.
Damn right.
Sword Art Online Hollow Fragments number 2. People are really crazy about that game. The Sword Art Online game is an RPG. People really are enjoying it. The translation, the localization is supposed to be awful.
Really?
Yeah, like really bad.
Huh.
But
I don't even know anything about it. What's it
people
about?
are enjoying. So Sword Art Online is like a Japanese anime that I think is about kids that get stuck in an MMO.
Yeah.
And so they made a game about it. A new one was announced for Vita in Japan. My assumption is based on how well this is doing that Bandai Namco will bring it over.
Gotcha.
Binding of Isaac Rebirth was number 3. Child of Light, Terraria, Don't Starve, Hotline Miami, Freedom Wars,
Hell yeah.
Danganronpa 2, hell yeah, and Soul Sacrifice Delta. That's the top 10.
Sacrifice.
And then PS1 Classics, not surprisingly, Suikoden 2 and Suikoden are the top 2 games.
Suikoden.
I used to before.
Suck it up.
We talked about this before, but you probably had the same experience when you were younger. Before the internet, basically when you would see a game name and you would just say it the way you thought it was said, and then your friends kind of said it the same way. So that's why I say Ninja Gaiden or Ryu.
Yep.
I used to call it Suikoden. That's what I used to call it, and I have to like actively think when I see that word. It's not called Suikoden.
Is it not Suikoden? Because I thought that's how Jared Petty was pronouncing it the whole
I don't
time when he was
know.
telling
I
us
think
how
it's,
great
I think
it
it's
is.
Suikoden. I've been always saying Suikoden in
Yeah.
my head.
All right.
Yeah.
It's
As
still
long as
Suikoden. It's still Suikoden to me.
Okay.
Isn't that crazy how much the internet just changed our pronunciation of made up words?
Oh, yeah, totally.
I didn't know that you weren't supposed to say Mario until I moved here. So, and I had to drill that one out of my head. Final Fantasy VII is number 3, Bully, on PS2, Crash Bandicoot, blah 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 blah. So those are the top selling games. No big surprises there. A little disappointing actually, but there's no new games right now.
Right,
I'm
right,
interested
right,
to see how Evolve and The Order do next month, or I guess in 2 months actually, since we won't get that data.
That's
until
gonna be
March.
really kind of curious to see how the basic sales of games kind of pans out, because we're looking at this weird trickle down of holiday releases that's just like they don't have any competition, you know?
Yeah,
You've got
exactly.
these giant, huge games that are coming out in the middle of like kind of this no man's land stretch, you know?
Absolutely, yeah. I feel like this is a good time for like mid-December to the end of January, and really nice time for smaller developers to get their games out there and to kind of proliferate some of these lesser known titles, because they're gonna like you said, they're gonna get inundated with Evolve commercials soon, and I don't know if they're gonna have the Order commercials, but
They will. Well, I mean, it's Sony, so I guess I shouldn't say that actually. They'll have one commercial they'll run during NBA games, and then that'll
will
be
it be a live action guy that looks kind of like Cole from Infamous fighting Sackboy?
No.
And
It'll be a live action guy with a weird mustache creeping around dark corners, and then eyes will appear and it'll say the order, and you won't have any idea what the hell they're talking about.
I have this weird hunch that that's going to be one of those games that I take home kind of like on a whim, and I'm like, I'll check it out. It's pretty, you know, and I wind up really liking it and then, championing it. But I mean, I played a really early demo of it that didn't do it. They're like, you got a gun that shoots fire, sort of.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Did you go to PlayStation Experience?
No.
All right, that was my first. Yeah, that's when I played the most recent build of it. And
like
I think it might have been my first time
fighting
That
a werewolf or
sounds crazy.
something. Like it actually gets interesting.
No,
Yeah.
that was the
E3's
werewolf thing
demo.
was E3. This one was
On the airship, going through, fighting other guys, showing their stealth
It's
mechanics.
like a whole chapter, like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we played it, and I was really down on that game when we first saw it when it was
They had
revealed.
the really short, that's what I played, like the that first demo that was at the preview or whatever.
Yeah,
Games Week or
I
something.
know exactly what you're talking about. Kind of like almost
It
a
doesn't,
Gears
it
of
doesn't do
War
anything
3 kind of
for
thing.
it. Yeah, it's really.
Yeah, this was better. I think I'm interested to see how this game pans out because it definitely has had an uneven ride.
Yeah,
since it was revealed for sure. Because when I first saw it, it was running like crap and it was not ready for prime time. So it seems
well,
like
that's the
they've
thing
had
is
time
when
to
I
think about
played it at PSX, I was like, yeah, totally. Like this seems like a game that like it's totally narrative focused and da da da. Like I want to go play this. I'd love to just sit down, and curl up in a blanket. And play.
Yeah, and I mean, given that it's a platform exclusive, I feel like we're probably going to see a sequel for it. Like you don't throw that much development at something if you're just going to kind of abandon it, you know?
Absolutely.
And then the second one's going to be one where like everyone's like, huh, didn't play that first one. And everyone else is like, oh, but you should have. It was cool. I don't know.
That's kind of the way. I mean, the first Uncharted was good, but I feel like no one cared about Uncharted until Uncharted.
That's 2. a good comparison there, I think.
Next story, gentlemen. Mafia 2 voice actor teases possible Mafia 3 announcement. This isn't a huge surprise, but
those tweets are hilarious.
Yeah, Jenna Pitcher wrote the story for IGN. It says, an announcement and details on the next possible Mafia franchise installment may be coming soon. Voice actor, Mafia 2 protagonist Vito Scaletta, voice actor Rick Pasqualone teased on Twitter recently. Quote, might have some Mafia news very soon, end quote. He responded to a fan. Then he said, he added that, might have some exciting news very soon, end quote. So basically saying just this kind of the same thing. To make Mafia 3.
Mafia news coming.
It was great though
because
there were like 2 tweets together. One of them was like, "Hey, are you like, is this any new Mafia?" And he's like, "I'm gonna have some news coming." And then the next tweet below that was somebody being like, "Hey, I hope you had a good Christmas." And he's like, "Hey, Mafia 2 news coming."
Did I hear somebody talking about Mafia? I got plenty of Mafia news.
You really misread that NDA, I think.
Of course, this game's been rumored for a while. The story reads, rumors surfaced late 2012 that 2K Czech was developing the 3rd installment for PS4 and Xbox One, with the goal being a launch title for both systems. If true, the development may have been affected when 2K Czech suffered layoffs in 2011 and was massively restructured in early 2014. It is thought that Mafia 3 may take place in an open-world Louisiana. If a casting call from Take-Two last March is to be believed.
That sounds cool.
That could be very cool.
I like Mafia 2 a lot. It was definitely a game that was incomplete, but nice job, good voice acting.
Yeah.
Interesting story, characters. So we'll see how that pans out. That was a long time ago, though. That was 2010.
It was, yeah. That's another game I remember reviewing a long time ago. Many moons ago.
Just a quick note, Evolve has gone gold. I know people are really excited about that. We talked about it a little bit. Turtle Rock is wrapped development up of the game, which means they're now going to do their patch. What's up?
I'm going to grab my power break. I'll be right back.
Okay, bye.
Just keep going.
Okay. The story from Seth Macy reads, to coincide with the news, 2K has released the intro cinematic from the upcoming co-op title. You can check that out on IGN.
Doesn't that bum you out? The intro cinematics kind of being just like bandied about like harlots in the night. Just I remember back in the day, like getting to a cutscene was there was this amazing kind of like pageantry to it. Like
Absolutely.
There were like 3 cutscenes in Duke Nukem 3D. You know, like you'd get a Blizzard game and you get to see like 2 cutscenes of orcs like yelling at each other or something.
No, it was very exciting. It was like the time, during the pre-render days on PS1 or whatever, when you would patiently put a game in and wait for the intro cinematic to play, even though you really wanted to press start and get into the game. You knew that this was really pretty. My favorite was always Wild Arms, which was a really early PS1 game that had a great intro, and then it just was sprite-based.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. That's kind of something special that should be waited until the...
It just seems like kind of this really just this last kind of almost half-assed effort when marketing a game. Like, hey, here's the thing you get to see if you buy it. You could buy it and see that, but...
But here it is anyway.
Yeah.
Another quick note for the readers and listeners out there. Resident Evil, the remake. So Resident Evil HD Remaster, as the name is called, is the remake of the remake, as it says in the story. Which
right.
So I
think I understand what you're
guess
saying.
it is the GameCube version. When we asked that question a while ago, is it the GameCube version? I guess it is. It releases January 20th, and it is available for pre-reload right now on all platforms, apparently.
Elijah Steele writes into Beyond at IGN.com just like you can and says, "Hi there, Greg, Colin, and Marty." Marty has failed you, Elijah.
He was close.
Yeah, well, I mean, once in a while, Marty's here. I pre-ordered Resident Evil on PSN so it would be playable at midnight, fully expecting it not to be playable until 3 a.m. Many friends here on the East Coast have experienced not being able to play till 3 a.m. But I noticed on the PSN page that it, quote, will be playable at midnight Eastern Time. When was this fixed? This greatly excited me. Thanks and beyond, Elijah, a.k.a. Loco Lizard Man.
Oh, Loco Lizard Man.
We know Loco Lizard Man well. I have no idea when that was fixed, and I wouldn't believe it. I wouldn't take it to the bank yet until you're playing it at midnight Eastern Time. That's always been the stupidest thing about these preloads, is that they make people wait in anywhere for the San Francisco time. Even though I guess there's an argument that if in San Francisco it popped at midnight Eastern Time, I wouldn't go to the store to buy it. Like, it's a weird thing.
It is weird. It's still a nice convenience, but it makes you wonder why people in those different time zones will just go to the store if they're that desperate to play it early. But you're only losing 3 hours.
Yeah.
at the most.
Yeah.
If you're living in Denver, you're only losing an hour. So it's not really a big
That's
deal.
how math works.
Yeah, that is how math works.
No, it's always been stupid that they do that. But who's gonna be at home like, oh man, I can't wait to buy. Yeah, I guess I might actually. But if you're,
I like how you're having this internal conflict with
well,
yourself.
it's just
right
like
now.
especially when you're talking about the preload thing. If I was like at midnight Eastern time, it's 9 o'clock here. I'm like, oh yeah, the order. I was gonna buy it tomorrow. I can buy it right now. And then I buy it. It installs in like 2 hours, an hour. Internets are slow.
You know, it's really kind of funny that just the internet really screws up the whole idea of midnight showings for things.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It absolutely does.
Waiting in line to see a movie and so, oh man, it sucked. You're like, oh, thanks, Rhode Island.
Thanks a lot.
Nice work.
That's why I love when they start doing those at 9 p.m. too. The midnight showing at 9 o'clock. I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, the whole zeitgeist of those kinds of openings is definitely lost now, for sure. But that's just the way it goes. That's
Everything
what
has to go digital. Make these movies digital.
This is interesting news and weird and kind of sad news, especially if you have a love for Japanese games, and I definitely do.
You?
Yeah, me.
Wow.
Japan's console and video game sales hit 24-year low. The story reads from Jenna Pitcher. According to the story, Japanese consumers spent less on console hardware and software in 2014 than in any year within the last 24 years, according to sales released by Famitsu. Famitsu, of course, is the famous weekly Japanese magazine for gaming that's been around for about 30 years. Figures show that total expenditure for 2014 reached 369 billion yen. And this, so basically, it's a 10% decrease year over year. And if you go on ign.com or go to NeoGAF, since a user named Road there actually made a graph which we've embedded in our story here on IGN, basically just shows the ebb and flow. And what's interesting is that 2006, 2007 was really the high point for the industry in Japan. So that's like GameCube, PS3 era, interestingly. And yeah, you have to go back to, so 369. Yeah, so you have to go back to 1990 to find sales this low. Interestingly, these numbers don't include mobile games or download sales, and obviously anyone who's been to Japan knows that that's all.
That's what they do. That's what they play.
Puzzles and Dragons.
Puzzles and Dragons.
So yeah, that's it's basically track sales include physical sales of both handheld and home consoles, and not digital sales.
But what does this mean, Max?
I think it means that maybe it's the way of the future, and that they are doing stuff digitally over there. Maybe, perchance. Yeah. It could just be the fact that everyone's jumping on mobile. It could be like the kind of the shift in. I mean, we've seen kind of a decline in and I'm sure someone's gonna get mad about this. We've seen kind of a decline in Japanese game popularity. You know?
Yeah.
No, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, that's the thing for me. Is it just the Western and the Japanese audience is skewing further? I mean, that's what it's been like forever, right? In the way that like Japanese games that come out here, many find audiences, many don't, right? And they come out and they feel antiquated. They don't feel up to like what we want out of our games, right? And that's why you see Western developers taking off. Yeah,
and why you see prominent Japanese developers not wanting to make Japanese style games anymore, like Inafune. So it's like, basically it's an issue of, there's great Japanese publishers and developers, like for sure. Platinum's a great developer. I really like what Spike Chunsoft did with Danganronpa. We talked about that many times. I mean, they're good games. NIS will bring anything over here that's Japanese and find their market, because there's 50,000, 100,000 people that buy these games, and that's profitable for them. But I agree. I think that it is a sign of dying times in Japan in terms of console and kind of traditional gaming. But at the same time, you go there, everyone's playing games, and games are everywhere, and there's a rich gaming heritage there for sure.
Still gaming culture.
It's huge. I mean, there's a whole part of the city. Akihabara translates to Electric Town.
Yeah.
It's like there's a part of the city. There's nowhere else in the world where there's a part of the city that is it's video games.
Yeah,
that's what they do there, and electronics and anime and that kind of thing. So it's never going to go away completely, but it is sad. I as a hardcore gamer, much like all of us that have a kind of a console and handheld pedigree, I am saddened by the transition to these. For sure, with gaming.
I mean, that's listening to your MP3, he held up his phone. That's definitely
a bummer to me. I don't feel like you can play certain kinds of games, and never will be able to play certain kinds of games on a touchpad, or a touch screen. But people like it. And when you go to Japan, I play Vita on the subway there, and I'm the only one playing Vita on the subway there. And there's people playing 3DS, and everyone else is on their phones, and that's just the way it is. So
I saw a lot of 3DSs when I was there.
Yeah, a good amount. Not. I mean, phones by far.
Oh sure, yeah.
Saw a few people playing Vita.
Yeah,
but.
I was like little tchotchkes hanging.
You want to know something really perplexing? In Japan, 50 Cent Blood on the Sand was published by Bethesda.
Yeah, that is weird.
I don't understand. Really weird. I want to know what happened. Like, who got drunk at
who
what
lost
meeting?
that bet?
Like, yeah, what?
Listen, if you make a 50 Cent game, we'll publish it in Japan. I roll. 2 years later, they're like, here it is.
Isn't Call of... I could be wrong about this, but isn't Call of Duty published by Square in Japan?
That sounds right. I remember somebody weird publishes it over there. Not weird, but you know what I mean. Not Activision.
Yeah, there's like some weird.
That always fascinates me.
Yeah, I'll look into it. Yeah,
like,
it could
you
be.
don't think you can do it? We can do it. We'll do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's like Dark Souls, right?
Yeah, it was published by Japan and Square. So even
Or Demon's Souls.
Advanced Warfare was, and then there's all sorts of weird stuff like that. Yeah, I guess they just figure out their home market and what they want or whatever, make a little extra cash.
Yeah.
I don't believe the story for a minute, by the way, but I'm gonna read it.
This
to you
next
anyway.
one?
Yeah.
Okay.
According to a story by Steve Watts at IGN, Goofy voice actor claims Kingdom Hearts 3 coming this year. Kingdom
That
Hearts
sounds
3
like one goofy voice actor.
Yeah.
High five. There it is.
That's what I
Kingdom
figured.
Hearts 3 may be closer than we expected, according to the voice actor behind one of its central characters, the story reads. Bill Farmer, who has voiced the character Goofy for years in both the Kingdom Hearts series and various cartoons, says that as far as he's been told, the much-anticipated sequel is due out later this year. He also claims his voice recording is already finished. That's not surprising. So through tweets acquired by gaming forum NeoGAF, he says, I am certain that this is what I know and have been told in terms of the game coming out this year.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about how that doesn't seem like it's possible. But we could be wrong. And I know a lot of Kingdom Hearts fans would be really excited about that, especially with HD 1.5 and 2.5 coming out the last 2 years or year and a half, kind of prepping as we see sometimes with HD collections. But based on the crossover between the leadership and the teams working on Final Fantasy 15 and Kingdom Hearts 3, it doesn't make any sense that the game would be ready to go. As far as I'm concerned, like I've said many times, I don't know if you agree with this, Max, that this game may be 2017, holiday 2017.
Yeah,
like it seems so far away, you know? Like when we were in Japan and Tokyo for Tokyo Game Show, the Final Fantasy 15 team told us that they're 55% done with Final Fantasy 14 or 15 as of September. So how like it just the math doesn't add up to me, but maybe we'll see.
Also, I'll be damned if I'm gonna listen to Goofy. Come on.
God, the voice actors are real. I love that they're kind of just checked out when it comes to like, don't talk about this, don't tell people things, because it's.
I have to wonder though how hard it is to keep it all straight. I just interviewed Troy for Up at Noon, right? And I never want to give anybody a leading question that could get them in trouble. And so it's like, so what else?
You're not a real journalist, Greg.
I'm not 100% when it comes to Up at Noon or video game reporting. But it's like, what can you tell me about Uncharted 4 and let them go? Because I don't want to be like. I think I heard this from Game Informer. I didn't even read the Game Informer. I read the GAF bullet points of Game Informer.
It comes out this weekend.
So
I
it's
don't
like,
know.
is this your storyline? Blah, blah, like, I don't remember what part of that I've heard from where, and it's not like I want to be like, well, make them, I don't know. And so it's got to be hard. The example I always give, especially in this scenario, right, is Eric Layden when he was doing, he was Cole from Infamous and Infamous 2. And so then when it came time for PlayStation All-Stars and IMDb put up this whole list of fake people in there saying David Hayter was Snake and stuff, Eric Layden saw that, thought it was confirmed because he knew who else is in this game. I don't know. And tweeted like, "Oh, it's so great to be working with all these people." And I was like, "Dude, those aren't in the game." He's like, "It's on IMDb." I'm like, "It's not the same thing."
Yeah.
Like it's not like voice actors are in from every step of the way when you're putting out a video game. I'm sure Goofy's people were like, "Oh yeah, 2015."
Eric Layden, of course, from Mad Men.
Oh yeah,
well.
yeah, Betty's brother.
Just two quick notes before we wrap up the news. PlanetSide 2's PlayStation 4 closed beta is beginning January 20th. If you're interested in that, you can sign up. I think still at PlanetSide 2's website, which I believe is planetside2.com.
PlanetSide 2 must hate Destiny.
Yeah.
God, Destiny got there on consoles long before they did in there. It's kind of the same thing, right? Of like MMO RPG with guns.
Yeah, well, they had their opportunity. I mean, that game has been going for a long time on PC.
Yeah.
And Joe Danger 2, the movie on Vita's release date will be January 13th in North America and January 14th. So today, if you're listening to this on Tuesday, it's just big news because that kind of came out of nowhere, and I know that port was promised a while ago. So people that are excited about that can look for that game.
That's
imminently.
Hello Games, right? That's the guys doing No Man's Sky.
Now that this is off their plate, straight to getting No Man's Sky right into your PlayStation 4.
No, I love that kind of stuff where there's a developer that makes that much of a crazy leap in another direction.
Right. Yeah. Let's do something totally different.
It's really good to look at that and be like, they're not one-trick ponies.
Yeah.
Like, there are people who are going to do silly things and colorful things, and then they're going to go do something entirely different.
Right. Max.
Yes.
It's 5 p.m.
Uh-oh.
You have to adjourn.
I'm going to turn into a pumpkin.
Before you go, tell everybody your Twitter.
My Twitter's Max Scoville, MaxScoville.
That's easy.
Yeah. It's just a bunch of letters that are connected to.
Are there any other Max Scovilles out there you see floating around the internet?
I don't think so.
Nice. That's a good name. You get a job.
Scovilles,
Yeah. You got the Scoville units.
Yeah.
That's always a big thing.
I'm apparently the mascot of Hot Pepper Gaming.
Yeah, you are. I think about you every time I see that because it's.
Every time it flashes up how many Scovilles it is, like, oh yeah, Max.
100,000 Scovilles.
It's the
I'll
300,000 Maxes.
I'll be on there eventually. It's gonna be good.
They're great people.
I've been training.
Oh really?
Yeah, I got some peppered things.
It is bad news
It's
bears.
really bad.
Yeah.
I know some people like hot food. I like hot food just fine, but
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like
Mistakes were made.
Yeah, it was really bad. It's bad news.
Yeah.
Yeah, the habanero was so much worse. This is my second appearance, and like the Thai chili peppers I did on the Up at Noon set, they weren't bad. It was totally like, oh man, that was hot, haha, big deal. And the habanero like stopped me cold. Like I just couldn't function.
Stopped you cold?
Yeah, stopped me cold.
Hot.
No,
Oh.
you can leave now.
I'll
You've
shut
had your chance.
myself the door.
Max, I love you. Congratulations again on the job.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for coming,
guys.
Max, and yeah, congratulations.
Yeah.
Welcome.
And best of luck in future ventures.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate
All right.
that.
I'll see you guys later.
All right,
man.
love you.
Be well.
Oh wait, hold on. One quick shout out. I want to say hey to Kyle and Laura, who are big fans of this show, and they let me sleep in their guest room in Hawaii. And they love your stuff.
Aw.
I think I had you autograph a napkin for Kyle a while ago.
Oh, cool. All right, cool.
Yeah. All right. Bye.
Love you.
Bye.
Colin,
Yes.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah. Tell me.
PlanetSide 2.
Uh-huh.
Poof. That's a game, all right.
It's
I'm going to check it out for a little bit. That was one of those things.
That
Matt Higbee, good dude, came on up
Right,
a long
right.
time ago to tell me about it, and actually hinted on that show that he was bringing it to PS4, which was a big deal back then.
Oh, that's right.
However, that game, dude, it's not even near coming out yet. The 20th? That's forever ago.
It is.
If I wanted to know what I could pick up right now, where would I go?
You would go to the Andrew Memorial, or Andrew Goldfarb Memorial List of upcoming PlayStation software on all 3 platforms by the IGN editors. What's going to be most interesting, though, is what this is. Do you think when we leave the show that they'll name things after us?
This is a question a lot of people get. If you want, I can find it for you real quick. Because there's definitely one in here about.
I don't get the Beyond emails anymore, so I don't even read them.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Well, let's read this real quick. There's not many games coming out this week. Atelier Ayesha Plus, The Alchemist of Dusk is coming to Vita digitally. Brandish, The Dark Revenant is coming to PSP and is available on PS Vita TV and PS Vita as well. Joe Danger 2, the movie, is coming to Vita digitally. Monopoly Deal is coming to PS3 digitally. Monopoly Plus is coming to PS3 digitally. And Shakespeare's is coming to Vita digitally.
Shakespeare's?
Yep, Shakespeare's.
Is it the pizza place?
Shakespeare's is a game of glory, honor, and fame. Become a valiant knight and enter tournaments to compete for the heart of a beautiful lady. Travel through 4 worlds of wonder, win battles in 20 cities, and beat challenging bosses in this epic game. It's time to become a hero for the ages.
Charles Harris writes into beyond.ign.com, just like you can. It says Beyond.
Beyond.
The Roper Report, the Andrew Goldfarb IGN Memorial, and Ryan's Wrap-Up. What segment would you, Greg, and Colin want to be named after you on Podcast Beyond? Kudos on the new venture full-time. Love you guys always, Beyond. Here's my prediction. If you want me to go out on a limb. You and I have been with Podcast Beyond a long time. Episode 1, episode 90s. 8?
98.
Damn, nailed it. Awesome. Perfect. Good job, Greg. I imagine when Marty, in however they set up whoever he's with and whatever happens, I guess I shouldn't. I'm speaking as a fan, like you watching or listening to this show. When Colin and I's freelance run here, as we transition you into a world without us, is over, I bet they ditch a lot of our baggage. I bet a lot of our baggage gets ditched. I wouldn't be surprised if you don't hear any of the jingles, any of this. Does Marty know all the jingles? Does he feel the jingles? You know what I mean?
And they got to make their own show.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
I mean, like Podcast Beyond, well, I really feel like Greg and I and obviously Roper and Clements and Goldfarb and everyone.
Jeff and Sam.
We're the spirit of the show, and I think in the soul of the show, and I don't think that's ever going to change. But when Beyond is taken over by other people, they have to make it their own show, and for better or for worse, like I hope you guys stick with it at that time. They'll make their own thing that makes them laugh. Like we've done things that made us laugh, and for some reason other people laugh as well.
Right.
So yeah, no, it's a good way of putting it.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if this changes everything.
Oh, just like the PlayStation Move?
Exactly. I was thinking about even if I was getting Beyond after all this and I hadn't worked on it, I'd change the logo too.
Oh.
You got to come in, you got to say that's been our logo since 150. That's a long time.
Yeah.
That's many years.
Yeah.
So it's like
the Islanders have had the same logo since 1972. So what do you think of that?
They had those ugly jerseys at one time.
The fisherman logos.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got rid of that real quick.
Well, there you go. Well, maybe that's what'll happen here.
Yeah.
They switch to something new. It's somebody's face. It's Brian's face, and he's got Beyond in his teeth and Brap on his lower teeth.
Right.
Nobody would want that probably.
No, well, you don't know until you put it out there.
That's true. It's how you
got to
do
do a
it.
little market research.
Yeah. Lord knows.
That's all the news. That's all the games.
Oh wow. Okay. That was an easy one. What time do you have to be wrapped up today?
As soon as possible.
Okay.
But we just got started really late.
Yeah, I know. We apologize. It was my last up at noon. Troy Baker's plane was delayed. I had to cry in there. They gave me a cake. I had to take photos with everybody last time, so apologies. But you still...
No, it's all about you, Greg.
I really dislike you on many levels. You know what I mean? You got to throw me into the bus like that on this day of all days?
I was just stating the obvious. It's all about you.
It is true. I'm sorry. Maybe one day it'll be about you.
I would prefer that it wasn't.
Today's not that day, though.
I prefer that it was never about me.
Let's answer some questions. I'll try to get you out of here by 5:30. How's that sound?
That's at the
Too
very
late?
latest. Yeah.
Okay, then how about 5:20?
That's
15
fine.
minutes.
Let's
We'll
just
do
see what
15
happens.
minutes.
Okay.
How about we just debate how much time you have the rest of the show?
Sure.
Kelson writes into beyond.ign.com and says, Beyond Greg Colin and the ever-rotating bearded position.
Beyond.
I couldn't help see. He couldn't help but see that the last 3 Naughty Dog games have gotten Game of the Year in a row in their release. Do you think Uncharted 4 has already secured its Game of the Year before it's even out, and that Naughty Dog will keep being the top dog?
Oh.
Thanks and love your hard work, Kelson Jennings.
Well,
from Texas.
What does he mean by that? Because certainly someone gave those games Game of the Year, but we didn't give Uncharted 3 Game of the Year, even though I voted for it for Game of the Year.
Yeah, what did we give it that year? Skyrim?
Oh no, did 11? Yeah, no. 2011 was no, it wasn't Skyrim.
No, it was Portal
2.
Portal 2. Yeah, I could picture the video where they're walking through the Skyrim world, and then we shoot the portal into
That
the
was
air.
the first time that I voted for a game that didn't win.
That's when it all started for you.
And but generally, I mean, there are sites that definitely did give that game of the Year, and I think that's a great game.
Yeah.
Really fantastic game. No, I don't think anything's. I think there's a lot of questions with Uncharted 4 that need to be answered. I don't think that there's any confidence. There's a lot of confidence in the game, and I don't think there's any confidence that it's necessarily going to be the game-changing Uncharted 2-like game that we saw back in 2009. New team, they're working on it. Different.
I think
people
there's a
working
possibility too. Like, you know what I mean? Like that little snippet. I guess what's your definition of game-changing for Uncharted? You know what I mean? Like, there's going to be more action than ever. You know what I mean? It seems like there's not going to be a moment to rest in that game. It seems like there's stealth in that game. It seems like the enemies are a bit smarter, and they go from alerted to alerted to alerted. It's like unlerted. I thought for sure I'd get something out of you.
No, it's fine. I mean,
it's
what
a
else are you
cromulent
gonna
word.
Say? I mean, what else are you gonna say?
I mean, I don't. Yeah, I don't know. It looks beautiful too. It runs really well, right? That's the giant. That's what people would knock 2 and 3 for, right? Is like 3 wasn't that big of a graphical upgrade, and it wasn't that big of a set piece upgrade and stuff, right?
Right.
Yeah. I think it's gonna have that.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I'm excited about it. I think it's gonna be great, but who knows? I mean, there's a lot of games coming out this year that look great, so. We'll have to see how it all shakes out. We're far away from Uncharted 4.
Yeah.
Far away.
You sticking with it being this year? Are you finally getting back on the Greg Miller train?
Maybe. We'll see.
Greg Miller's making convincing
It'll become
arguments.
clear. It'll become clear to us by E3 whether it's going to come out this year, I think.
Yeah. What'll be the telltale signs at E3?
If it's not playable by E3, then it's not coming out this year.
Interesting. Yeah. I'd agree with that. This one comes from Ryan. He writes in and says, Beyond. Dear Greg, Colin, and Marte. I hear Colin talk often about his excitement for all these indie games coming out, and each time I sigh and shake my head. While independent games can be great, I feel like they are often unfairly given too much leniency in quality and content, since they are quote-unquote indies and are therefore fighting against the man, i.e. big publishers. They are given this skin of tortured artists who make games for the craft and not to be fun. To solidify my view, one must only watch Indie Games the movie. The attitude and mentality of the developers shown were so off-putting that I either put the games down for good or made the decision not to buy them. After hearing Phil Fish state that he would quote-unquote kill himself if his game didn't sell, I uninstalled the game and vowed to stay away from his games forever. I don't want the life of someone in my hands like that. Luckily, he himself made that easy by no longer developing games. I wish people would just talk about the games they love and what they are looking forward to and move away from the indie moniker, because that phrase has all the angsty, hipster smell that just hangs around in the air and won't go away. I can't be the only one. Damn.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting point. I think I agree with you that, and we've talked about this in the past. We talked about this at IGN when we used to have downloadable Game of the Year and downloadable PSN list and a PS3 list for top 25. I agree that we need to get to a place where the games are judged based on being games. That said, there are indie games, so-called indie games, that are way better than their retail counterparts. Yeah. And I don't agree that indie games get a pass at all. I actually think it's the exact opposite. I think they have to do new and different things to get attention. And often the indie games that do get attention for doing new and different things well get that attention because the games are good. The best game of last year to me was Shovel Knight. That's a game that was kickstarted and made by a small group of guys. So I don't think I think it's people think it's hipster or whatever. That's fine. I don't really care. It's a matter of this is where the special stuff's happening right now, is in that space. I mean, it is. But the point is that we should be open-minded to play everything. If you're closed-minded, it's a pretty closed-minded point of view to say I'm not going to play indie games.
Yeah,
that's like me saying like I'm not closed-minded at all. I play all sorts of stuff. I play Call of Duty every year. I'm like the most unclosed-minded indie game fan ever. In that respect, I think So it's not like you can't play everything, but it's just to say that this is where gaming is and kind of the way it's the echelons of gaming and how people talk about it and describe it right now. That's the way it is. Because the only other way you can call an indie game is say, well, it's a, like Child of Light's not an indie game. Ubisoft published that, one of the biggest publishers in the world, but it is a small game. It's a downloadable game. Like how do you describe and talk about those games in a way that makes sense? Small game, cheap game. I don't know.
I understand what he's saying, that the moniker has been ruined by. And these are his words, obviously. The moniker's been ruined by people who come out and say it and do whatever. That happens with everything, right? That a bad apple can spoil the bunch for you. But there's so many amazing independent developers, and like when I meet Drinkbox and we hang out with them, right? Or I go see a Cappy game and talk to Nate. Like I'm not thinking like, oh, these guys are so indie. Yeah, they're into it. Well, they're just normal dudes who love video games and are making awesome games. And at no point talking to them have they ever been like, yeah, man, down with the man. Oh, they're so much cooler.
No, they're doing their own thing, and they're charting their own course. I mean, what people have to understand about a lot of these indie devs is that they didn't just stumble into this. Guys at Housemarque or Drinkbox or whatever can easily be leaders at AAA developers if they wanted to be. Yeah. It's just that they don't want to be. They want to make their games the way they want to make them in ways that are commercially viable for smaller groups of people. Activision wouldn't make a game like Guacamelee any more than Drinkbox would make a game like Call of Duty. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah. The beauty of the ecosystem that we live in and exist in right now is that there's all sorts of games and all sorts of different types of people making them, and there's nothing wrong with that. To say that you're going to swear off the indie game because of the way some people talk about it just means you're going to miss out on a lot of great games, and so I feel bad for you.
Yeah, exactly. Don't be closed-minded. Play everything. Or, I mean, don't worry about the labels. Just play everything that's interesting to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't say, like, I'm not going to play I only play AAA games. What does that even mean?
Yeah, so if you only play AAA games, I'm sorry, because you're going to play about
Shovel
8
Knight
games
is an indie game. That's a AAA game because it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole point. It's like if you're waiting only for AAA games, you're going to be disappointed, especially in the coming years. You're going to be real disappointed.
Will writes into beyond.ign.com just like you can. It says, hey, Greg, Colin, and Mr. Sleva. So when I booted up my PS4, my first PlayStation system, I realized something drastic. Because I am under 18 years old, I am doomed. Why? Because anyone under 18 must make a PSN sub-account. Basically, when I become an adult, I'll be stuck with an account that is under the control of my dad's master account due to Sony not allowing a child's account to change to an adult account when they turn 18. Either I play until I'm 18 and lose everything I have, trophies, game saves, etc., and make a new adult account, or I'm stuck with a kid account forever. Or I lie about my age and have an adult account now. What should I do? Thanks and beyond. You lie about your age. What are you talking about? It's the internet.
But also it's just that's the solution they've left you with.
Yeah.
It's unreasonable to have someone follow the rules when they cannot benefit from following the rules later on. That's just stupid.
I mean, he sounds like he's acting like there's still a choice here. Like he hasn't gotten deep into it. So that'd be the main thing I would do is, like how many times do you click on a trailer? Like, and it's like
I'm born in 1910 every time
exactly.
I go
January, I'm going January 1st, whatever the hell.
I'd love to see the data from that. Like, we probably have it here.
What a terrible system to keep people out. And yeah, this is a problem. Good job on you, Will, for going through and learning the, ins and outs of the PlayStation to know that this is a problem if it's beforehand, or if it's your first system, you're just getting into it. Yeah, you still have time to say, well, I'm only level 2 trophies. Screw it. I'll lose the ones I had for this, that, and the other. You know what I mean? Like, Yeah, get out and fake it. Make a cool name that you won't regret.
I mean, I respect when people want to follow the rules. I just wonder like what you benefit from that in this particular instance. I'm not saying
the fact that you can't change it.
Exactly. I mean, that's a broken system, and that's a system that needs to be fixed. There's a lot about the PSN that needs to be fixed. It's kind of, in some ways, a little embarrassing. Like what the little things that need to be fixed. And I'm sure that there are technical reasons why it's hard to do, but it needs to be done.
I'm looking for a worse. Oh, here we go. This is a good one. I had to find a worse PSN name, but we're doing it at random here on the fly because we had the questions down. But then everything fell apart.
It's hot as hell in here, by the way.
We're getting out of here. It's time for it to go.
Hot as hell in here.
Colin, it's time for our favorite segment now. The worst PlayStation Network name of the week. Are you ready?
Yes.
This one comes from Kyle. Kyle writes and it says, hey guys, Beyond. I've been playing a lot of Crucible and Destiny lately, and more often than not, there's a few names worth a good laugh. I've got 2 submissions, so please pick your favorite. I'm going to let the audience pick their favorite. Okay. In the comments of the Beyond article, you decide which one is the worst of these 2, all right? Either Puppies dash the letter B dash Tasty, Puppies Be Tasty, or Booty Juice 312.
No, that's definitely the one.
Booty Juice 312. What you doing over there?
Booty Juice is definitely the one that I enjoy more than Puppies Be Tasty.
Kyle says, thanks again for sticking with the whole podcast Beyond Rigmarole. It wouldn't be the same without you, or it won't be the same without you, because he admits it'll end one day. Kyle, Thank you, Kyle, for listening. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. This has been Podcast Beyond, episode 377. Sorry it was a bit more run and gun today. A lot of things happening. We want to make sure we got you a show, because if we didn't hit it to this amount, there'd be no show today. You'd all cry and yell at me and then be mad and whatever.
Don't yell at me.
Don't yell at anybody.
Don't yell at me.
Don't. We all tried our best
if you
today.
want, but
yell
don't
at
yell at
Max. Can somebody be mean to him? He got here. Everybody's like, oh, welcome to IGN. Max, give him some hell. Show him a thing or two.
You didn't get any hell when you came here.
Oh, no, not at all. No, everybody was super, super down with Greg Miller coming in, reviewing Lair. Ladies and gentlemen, Podcast Beyond is IGN's PlayStation podcast. It's the #1 PlayStation podcast on the internet. Each and every Tuesday, we post it as an MP3 and a video for your liking. You can get it on the MP3 services. You can get it at ign.com. You can go to youtube.com/IGN and get it there. Of course, Colin and I no longer work for IGN. We are freelancing some episodes of Podcast Beyond, and that will end one day, and we will give you a warning before our last show. To keep up with us and our current projects, follow us on Twitter. I'm GameOverGreggy. Colin's No Taxation. Then, of course, keep up with Max Scoville, at Max Scoville, at IGN. Make sure you come to IGN, because they keep the mics on, read the articles, watch the videos, be a member of Prime, go to splitreason.com/IGN, buy shirts, go like the Naomi's Instagram photos, buy Damon's music. I think Sam plays a lot of pinball, so send him pinball tips if you ever see stuff like that. Every episode of Podcast Beyond ends in a song, in a segment we call Ryan's Wrap-Up. Now, I had one here, and I saw that I liked.
It's the one that's starred.
Yeah, did you see it? I didn't see it.
Yeah, it's right there.
Thank you. No, this one?
That's the star.
Well, yeah, but that says Evolve Hype. That was a question we didn't get to.
I'm just seeing a
well,
star.
that's why I was
There's
wondering
another
why.
one.
This is it. This one comes from Sean Fountain. Sean says, Beyond. My apparently really damn good 8-bit version of the legendary Metal Gear Solid theme song. Enjoy, my friends. Well, here you go. That's it. Sean put up a YouTube.
I like it short and sweet.
Yeah, Sean put up a YouTube video. I'm going to try to figure out what is Sean. It's Sean Fountain, Metal Gear Solid theme, 8-bit.
What is that art?
Cool. It's probably off Sean's. Yeah, it's Sean's little logo there.
Oh,
Sean's only got 77 subscribers. Everybody, it's Sean Fountain on their YouTube. Just Sean Fountain, SEAN Fountain, Metal Gear Solid theme, 8-bit from. Oh man, he published it in December 30th,
2013.
Yeah, wow. He's only got 5 comments. I'm posting Beyond right now. No, I gotta log out and do different things. I got a lot of YouTube accounts nowadays. It's hard to. I don't want to post with that YouTube account. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been our pleasure to serve you. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for your support last week.
Users lose all sense of reality and enter another world. Remember, do not underestimate the power of PlayStation.